Captain Liam Stone stared at the sonar screen, watching the empty blue lines move slowly. Nothing showed. No ships. No whales. Not even schools of fish. It had been like this for days now, silence across the ocean. But something deep inside him whispered that this silence meant danger. He had felt it before, during the old wars, when submarines hunted each other like wolves. Right before an ambush, the water would fall quiet, as if the sea itself was holding its breath. And now, the oceans around Earth were holding their breath again. 3 days earlier, a deep-sea research station off the coast of Chile had gone dark. It was supposed to send data every hour. Then it stopped. No signals, no distress calls. Just gone. First Command thought it was a storm, but the weather had been calm. No earthquakes, and no wreckage found. Just empty ocean. Then the USS Harbinger disappeared. It was a fast attack submarine, one of the best. It vanished on a routine patrol in the South Pacific. No SOS, no sonar pings, nothing. And that's when the call came in for Captain Stone. He had retired 3 years ago, after 30 years underwater. Everyone said he was the best sub-commander alive, maybe the best ever. He didn't want to come back. But when Admiral Pierce told him about the silence and the missing vessels, Stone knew it wasn't an accident. Something was in the water, something hunting them. Now he stood on the deck of the USS Nightwolf, a black steel ghost built for stealth and war. It was the most advanced submarine ever created. Silent engines, cloaking sonar, smart torpedoes. It was the perfect predator, but today it felt like prey. "Status report," he said, keeping his voice calm. "Still nothing on sonar, sir," said Lieutenant Reyes. Her eyes didn't leave the glowing screens. "Passive mode shows no signals. No engine sounds, no propeller hum, just ocean." Stone didn't like it all right, he said. "Maintain current depth. Keep listening, eyes sharp." He walked down the tight hallway toward the command room. The Nightwolf was deep now, almost 1,500 meters below the surface. That was deeper than most subs dared to go. But the strange activity, the disappearances all happened in the deeper zones. The lights inside the ship were dim. The crew moved in silence, focused but tense. Every sound echoed a drop tool, a closing hatch. It made everything feel closer, like something was crawling just beyond the steel walls. "Captain," a voice called. It was Chief Petty Officer Martin, one of Stone's most trusted crewmen from years ago. "There's something you need to see." Stone followed him to the sonar station. The screen showed something strange, just a small flicker. A pulse. It looked like a heartbeat. It was coming from the trench below them. "What depth?" Stone asked. 3,000 meters. Too deep for any of our subs. But it's repeating. A pattern. Almost like a signal. Stone frowned. "Is it man-made?" "No, sir. Definitely not. But it's organized. It's intelligent." Stone stared at the screen. The pulse repeated. 1, 2, pause. Then again, like a code. But what was sending it? "Tried decoding," Stone said, "and record everything. Don't send it to the surface yet." As the chief worked. Stone turned to Reyes. "Launch a drone. Deep dive model. Send it toward the signal. Keep us at this depth for now." "Yes, sir." The Nightwolf released a small black drone, no larger than a torpedo. It slipped quietly into the depths, its cameras and sensors beaming data back to the sub. The drone had lights, but the trench swallowed them like ink. Visibility dropped to 0. For minutes, the feed showed only blackness. Then something moved. It was fast. A shape darted past the camera blur, maybe 3 times the size of the drone. Then another passed by in the other direction. "Multiple contacts," Martin whispered. Surrounding the drone. "Shut off the lights," Stone said. "Make." It looked dead. The drone's lights blinked out. Feed turned to darkness, but the audio still worked. Everyone leaned in, listening. At first there was nothing. Then, tapping. It sounded like metal fingers on the drone's hull. 1, 2. Then dozens, then came the sound no one could explain, a low rumble, deep and cold, like a growl mixed with a machine's hum. It sent chills down everyone's spine, and then the drone feed cut out. Stone looked at the crew. No one spoke there. "Here," he said finally, "and they're watching." That night, the Night Wolf stayed completely silent. No pings, no movement, no lights. The crew moved slowly, speaking in whispers. Some tried to sleep. Most couldn't. Stone sat alone in the command chair, staring at the sonar screen. Same pulse returned. Heartbeat. Pause. Heartbeat. Whatever was out there was calling. But calling who? Early the next morning, the Night Wolf picked up a strange signal coming from the direction of the Mariana Trench, Earth's deepest point. The signal was almost musical, like whale song, but layered and sharp. The signal wasn't coming from Earth's satellites. It wasn't bouncing off the seafloor. It was rising straight from the abyss. "Intercept?" Stone asked. "No," said Martin. "It's not aimed at us. It's going up, toward space." Everyone fell quiet. "If they're sending messages to space," Stone said, "they didn't just arrive. They've been here," Reyes whispered. "Hiding." Stone nodded. "And now they're ready." The tension inside the submarine grew thicker with each passing hour. The Night Wolf stayed deep, moving slowly across the trench. Sonar scans showed strange shapes on the seafloor structures too, symmetrical to be natural. Towers, domes, pipes, it looked like a city. A city no human had ever seen, Captain Reyes said. "Something's moving big." Stone looked at the sonar. A large object had appeared behind them, rising slowly from the bottom. It wasn't shaped like a ship, more like a creature, 100 meters long, moving without propulsion. Silent, it followed the Night Wolf at a steady pace. "They've found us," Stone said. He ordered silent running. Engines off. Power reduced. The sub floated like a dead thing. The creature passed them, close, so close that the whole vibra. Then it stopped. Right above them, the crew held their breath. A loud screech echoed through the sub. Metal against metal. Something was scraping. The outer hull, a tentacle, a claw. No one knew. Stone gave the quietest command of his life. "Fire decoy." Now, the Night Wolf launched a noise decoy to the east. It made a loud burst of sound, like a panicked engine. The creature turned and followed the decoy. The Night Wolf dropped fast, heading for a narrow canyon on the ocean floor. They escaped, but only for now, back in the command room. Oh. The pulse continued. Heartbeat. Pause. Heartbeat. Stone knew this was no longer an investigation, it was war, and the ocean would be the battlefield. The next morning, the water outside the USS Night Wolf felt colder, heavier. The crew didn't say much. Everyone moved carefully, their boots soft against the steel floor. They had all felt the pressure building. Something deep and dangerous was watching them. It didn't matter that they were one of the most advanced submarines in the world. Down here, it felt like they were being hunted. Captain Liam Stone stood in the control room, eyes on the sonar screen. The heartbeat signal was still there, slow and steady, like a drum from the deep. "Distance to Mariana Trench?" he asked. Quietly. 80 kilometers, sir," Reyes answered. "We'll reach the outer ridge in 3 hours if we keep low." Stone nodded. "Keep it slow. No active sonar. We don't want to wake anything." Suddenly, a crackling sound came through the comms. Static, then a voice weak, broken. "Is anyone there? Coming up from?"
Shadows?
The transmission cut out. The room froze. "Source," Stone said quickly. Martin scanned. The data? Unknown subchannel? Old civilian code? "Could be a research vessel, sir. Could be a trap," Reyes warned. Stone stared at the screen. "Or someone still alive." The signal repeated. A single message, barely readable. "They are. Here they are beneath us." Stone made a decision. Plot a new course toward the signal, but keep our depth. The Night Wolf turned silently, its engines whispering through the black water. Every meter forward felt like a step into a nightmare. 2 hours later, they reached the edge of a trench. wall. Below them, darkness stretched deeper than any map. The signal was coming from inside, from far, far below. They sent a deep-range sonar ping just once. The signal returned with an echo, not from one object, from hundreds. Reyes turned pale. "Captain, I think they're moving." The sonar screen lit up with shapes rising from the trench, long, thin shadows. Some fast, some slow, but all heading upward. Stone gave the order. "Go quiet. Engines off. Sink into the canyon wall." The Night Wolf shut down. They drifted into a small rock shelf on the side of the trench and held still. Lights dimmed. Systems dropped to low power. Every sound was muffled. Everyone on board could feel their heartbeats. On sonar, the shapes kept rising. Then one of them turned back. Toward the Night Wolf. The object was large, over 200 meters long. It had no propellers, no engine, just slow, smooth motion. It moved like a creature, but with control. Then it stopped, right above them. No sound, no attack, just silence. A sudden jolt shook the submarine. Something had landed on the hull. Metal creaked, bolts strained. A sharp scraping sound traveled down. The spine of the sub, like claws dragging across the steel. Reyes whispered, "Is it scanning us?" Martin looked up from his station. "No, it's listening." The crew said nothing. Then a bright blue light flared outside the viewing port. It was soft, almost beautiful, like a glowing jellyfish. It floated inches from the hull. Another light appeared. Then another. Dozens of them. All drifting outside. They weren't lights. They were eyes. Alien creatures were surrounding the Night Wolf. Their bodies were thin, eel-like, with transparent skin and glowing organs. They had no faces, but their glowing eyes pulsed in rhythm with the heartbeat signal. One creature touched the hull with a long, finger-like limb. The sub's power flickered. Sparks flew from the command station. "They're trying to get in," Martin said. Stone barked, "Power up engines. Full thrust now." The Night Wolf roared to life. The sudden sound pushed the creatures back. Some scattered. Others clung on as the submarine burst forward, breaking free from the trench wall. A few creatures latched onto the hull. Stone gave the order. Surface to 1,000 meters. Launch shock charge. They released a small torpedo-shaped device. Behind them, it detonated with a burst of sound and light. The water shook. The creatures let go, writhing in pain, and disappeared into the dark. The Night Wolf kept climbing, moving quickly through the depths. Inside, systems returned to normal, but the sonar showed something worse. The trench was waking up. More signals began rising, larger shapes, stranger sounds. Something massive stirred at the bottom. And for the first time, they heard a sound none of them would forget. A voice. It wasn't spoken. It came through the water, through the steel, through the minds of the crew. It wasn't in any language, but they understood. This world was promised. Leave or drown. Then silence. Stone sat in the command chair, cold sweat on his forehead. "They're not just visitors. I think they belong here," Reyes said quietly. "They're not just in the oceans. They've been living under us for who knows how long." Martin asked, "How do we fight something that controls the ocean itself?" Stone didn't answer. He stared at the sonar screen. "At the trench, at the rising army. We don't wait," he said. "We hunt first. And for the first time in human history, a submarine captain planned an attack not against a navy, but against an alien empire hidden in the sea." 3 days passed. The oceans were no longer silent. All around the world, strange reports came in. Oil rigs in the Atlantic vanished without warning. A Russian submarine vanished north of the Philippines. A Chinese deep-sea mining station was found crushed like a can, with no signs of what caused it. Even cargo ships sailing near deep waters sent out desperate mayday calls before falling completely off the grid. People still didn't understand what was happening. Most thought it was freak accidents. Some blamed earthquakes or new weapons. But Captain Stone knew the truth. It was war. The enemy didn't come from the sky. It didn't walk on land. It lived deep in Earth's oceans, and now it was rising. The USS Nightwolf had returned to a secret underwater base Poseidon Point, beneath the southern Pacific. It was built into the wall of an underwater ridge. Invisible to satellites and safe from storms, it had become the command center for Earth's first undersea war. Stone walked through the dim corridors, listening to reports from different parts of the world. His team had named the enemy creatures Deep Walkers. They didn't use machines like humans. Their bodies were the machines. Long, boneless shapes, glowing eyes, skin that bent light. Some were small like divers. Others were huge more, like sea monsters from myths. But all of them had one thing in common. They could not be tracked. No radar, no sonar, no heat signatures. They could disappear and reappear at will. Except for one ship, the Nightwolf, its stealth sonar and silent drive made it the only vessel able to follow the Deep Walkers. That made them the only hunters in a world full of prey. Stone gathered his crew in the mission room. On the screen, they saw a new image of glowing shape on the ocean floor, just south of Fiji. A satellite had picked up strange electromagnetic pulses in the area. Heat scans showed signs of life, movement, a base. Their hive is down there, Stone said. We don't know how big it is. We don't know how many are guarding it. This may be the center of their operations. Reyes frowned. We're going in alone? No, Stone nodded. We're the only ones who can, Martin asked. And what's the plan? Hit and run? Stone's voice was cold and steady. No, we hit, we don't run. The crew loaded weapons into the Nightwolf, special torpedoes built for undersea structures, noise bombs, electric traps. Every stealth submarine trick Earth had was now being loaded onto one boat. The Nightwolf left Poseidon Point just before midnight, silent as a shadow. What? It dropped below the thermal layer, sinking into deeper water where sunlight never reached. Inside the ship, lights turned red. Engines ran low. The crew whispered instead of speaking loud. Every man and woman aboard knew what this mission meant. If they failed, Earth would lose the only sub that could fight back. If they succeeded, they would become the first humans to strike the enemy where it lived. After 6 hours, sonar picked up the signal. A faint hum, pulsing slowly. Heartbeat, Reyes said quietly. Again, Stone muttered. Always the same pattern. As they moved closer, something new appeared on sonar. It looked like rocks at first. Then they saw movement, structures, columns, towers made from coral and bone. Lights glowing from within. It was a city built on the ocean floor, and it was alive. Multiple targets, Martin said. 50. No, 70. They're moving. But strangely, none of the Deep Walkers approached the sub. Stone narrowed his eyes. They're not attacking. Why? Then the lights inside the alien city shifted. The glow changed color from blue to red, then back to blue, then red again. It was a signal. Stone leaned closer to the screen. They know we're here. And they want us to see this? Could be a trap, Reyes said. It's always a trap, Stone answered. Still, they moved forward. Staying at a safe distance, the city was huge. Tunnels stretched in every direction. Strange towers curved upward like bone spires. The lights pulsed in slow waves. It looked almost peaceful, but something felt wrong. Sir, Martin said suddenly, we're not alone. Sonar showed a shape behind them, then another, then 5 more. Deep Walkers were surrounding the Nightwolves, completely silent. They're boxing us in, Reyes said. They waited. The ship began to shake. Something hit the back hull. Pressure. Spike! Martin shouted. They're latching on. Or shapes moved in. Long arms, claws. The Nightwolf spun hard to the right to escape, but something grabbed the rudder. We're stuck. Stone didn't panic. His voice was sharp and clear. Deploy ghost mines. All sides. The submarine released a row of devices. From its outer hull, Each one spun away, then exploded with bright flashes and shockwaves. The creatures screamed a horrible sound that filled the water like breaking glass. Some let go. Others were ripped apart. The Nightwolf powered forward, breaking free. But the alien city came alive. Lights flashed wildly. Towers opened like flower petals, releasing streams of small glowing creatures, scouts or drones. More contacts coming. Fast, Martin said. We're outnumbered. Stone made the call. We go dark. Total silence. No power. Drift low and vanish. Engines off. Lights off. Even the screens dimmed. The Nightwolf became a ghost. Outside, hundreds of creatures swam in circles, searching. But they couldn't see what wasn't there. Inside the ship, the crew sat in total darkness. Holding their breath, minutes passed. Then the swarm moved away. They had escaped, but only barely. After an hour of drifting, the Nightwolf powered back on and slipped away from the city. They had seen enough. The enemy had an entire base, guarded by creatures born from the depths. But the humans had something more dangerous. A mind that could hunt in silence, a captain with no fear, and a submarine that could disappear like smoke. In the water, they didn't win that night, but they learned something important. The Deepwalkers could bleed, and ghosts could kill. Captain Liam Stone stared at the black and white image on the screen, showed a strange object recovered from the alien city, a glowing sphere about the size of a soccer ball, covered in ridges and strange symbols. The team had found it lodged in the Nightwolf's outer hall after the last encounter. It wasn't metal. It wasn't glass. It pulsed with a slow blue light like it was breathing. The submarine had returned to Poseidon Point, and the object was now sealed inside a reinforced chamber. Scientists didn't want to go near it. Some said it was alive. Others said it was listening. But one thing was certain: it wasn't human. Dr. May Tan stood next to the object, her hand holding a small scanner. She had joined the Nightwolf's crew after the second mission, deep-sea linguist and codebreaker. She had spent her life studying patterns in whale songs and dolphin clicks. But this thing, this alien sphere, was like nothing she'd ever seen. It's not just making sound, she told Stone. It's talking. Stone raised an eyebrow. Talking to us, no? May said. To something else. Maybe to the Deepwalkers. Maybe to their queen. Stone leaned closer. Can you understand it? Some of it, she said, glancing at her notes. It uses pressure waves, vibrations. It's like a language made of underwater echoes. It repeats certain phrases over and over. One word keeps coming back. She pressed a button, and a soft rumble filled the room. It wasn't loud, but it made the walls vibrate slightly, like a soft growl underwater. What does it mean? Stone asked. May looked uneasy. It means claimed. Stone didn't speak for a moment. Then he asked, claimed by who? The Varniks, she answered. That's what they call themselves. The name sent a chill through the room. Sound like a species. Sounded like a warning. And Earth's oceans? Stone asked. They think it belongs to them, May said. Not just now, since before we were here. Since before we even walked on land? Stone's jaw tightened. So they didn't invade. They think we did. Before he could say more, alarms rang through the base, multiple contacts moving fast. Sonar room lit up with activity. A swarm of Varnik shapes were moving across the Pacific, near a major shipping route. The creatures weren't hiding anymore. They were fast, coordinated, and heading toward the coast of Japan. They're rising from the trench, Martin said. This is an attack. Stone moved quickly. Get the Nightwolf ready. Load all weapons. Alert command, we're launching now. Within minutes, the submarine dropped back into the sea. The crew was quiet but ready. The fear was gone, now replaced. By purpose, Stone stood in the command center, watching the screen as hundreds of contacts swarmed toward the surface. Target zone is 40 kilometers east of Tokyo Bay, Reyes said. We have less than 1 hour. Any surface support? Stone asked. Destroyers and aircraft are moving in, she said. But they won't make it in time. Then we stop them, Stone said. Underwater. The Nightwolf sped forward, deeper than any other ship could go. The sonar pinged softly, showing the swarm hundreds of deepwalkers, moving like a single mind. In the middle of the group was something larger, much larger. "New contact," Martin said. "It's massive." On the screen, the shape was clear, over 300 meters long, tentacles like cables, a mouth lined with glowing teeth. It moved slowly, but the water shook with its presence. Reyes stared at the screen. "What is that?" Stone's voice was cold. "The Leviathan." The swarm protected it, surrounding the massive creature like an army guarding a queen. Stone knew what would happen if it reached the shore. It wouldn't just destroy cities. It would show the world who truly ruled the oceans. "Bring us within." "Strike range," he ordered. The Nightwolf turned quietly through the water, approaching the swarm from below. They launched Silence Mind's first devices that shut down sound in the area, making it hard for the Varniks to hear the sub coming. Then Stone gave the order. "Fire all torpedoes. Aim for the Leviathan." Ow. 12 torpedoes shot forward, splitting into smaller warheads. They moved like sharks, weaving through the deep walkers. Some were taken down by the enemy. Others hit their mark. The first explosion lit up the dark sea. The Leviathan roared. Water shook. Smaller creatures screamed. Some scattered. Others charged toward the Nightwolf with blinding speed. The crew fired electric nets and sonic bursts. The submarine twisted, dodged, and countered every strike. Then a second hit slammed into the Leviathan's side. It bled. Thick black clouds spilled into the ocean. The creature turned and tried to rise, its massive body shaking from pain. "Reload." "Torpedoes," Stone said. "We're not done." More blasts tore through the swarm. The Leviathan shrieked louder than anything the crew had ever heard. The sound broke instruments, cracked pipes, and made blood drip from their ears. "Damage to our outer hull," Martin shouted. "Hold course." Stone snapped. "Keep firing." One final torpedo struck the Leviathan's underside. Its body convulsed. Then, it stopped moving. The creature began to sink. The swarm froze, then scattered in every direction like ants without a queen. They're retreating. Reyes shouted. The crew cheered. They had done it. They had killed the biggest monster in the ocean. But Stone didn't smile. He stared at the sonar, watching the Leviathan's body sink slowly into the trench, because something else had started to rise. New signal, louder, deeper, older. May ran into the control room, her face pale. "Captain," I decoded the rest of the message. Stone looked at her. "It wasn't just a warning," she said. "It was a countdown." Stone turned to the screen. And at the very bottom of the trench, something had awakened. Darkness had returned to the ocean. Not just the kind that came from the deep, but something heavier, something that pressed on every hull, every mind, every breath. The alien machines had stopped moving. The strange signals had gone quiet. But every submarine captain knew this wasn't peace. It was something worse. It was silence before the storm. Commander Wells sat in the control room of the Nighthawk, watching the sonar screen like it held the fate of the world. Around him, the crew whispered, moved slowly, hands hovering over buttons they hadn't needed to use in years. The deep sea was quiet but not empty. Every human on board felt it. Something was down there. Something was waiting. Then the lights flickered. "Power spike," the engineer said. "Coming from external source again." "No, that's not." "A power spike," Wells said, standing. "That's a ping. They're mapping us." Every submarine in the fleet reported the same thing within seconds. The alien presence wasn't gone. It had only gone deeper. Somewhere below the ocean floor, it had burrowed, enrooted itself like a parasite. Earth's ocean had become the entrance to something far bigger than anyone had feared. A base? Hive. Nobody knew. But they had to find out. The Nighthawk and Barracuda were selected for the first mission into what everyone now called the Trench. It wasn't on any map. Didn't even exist before the invasion. But now somehow a vertical scar, nearly 7 miles deep, had opened beneath the sea. A rift in the earth, created by the aliens. No light reached that deep. No signal came back. Clean. Every movement the subs made caused a strange hum through the metal, like the ocean itself didn't want them there. "Steady," Wells said, as the Nighthawk began its descent. The temperature dropped. Static filled the radios. And then, all at once, the sonar screens shut off. The subs weren't blind. They were alone. Inside the Barracuda, Captain Ramirez stared at her crew. Manual visuals only. No tech. From this point on, we go old school. Every light was dimmed to avoid detection. The hulls groaned under the pressure. For hours, the submarine slid deeper into the rift, unsure of what they were approaching. Then, finally, a glow appeared. It was soft at first, then it grew. Like a city of light rising from the bottom of the sea, Wells narrowed his eyes. What is that? It wasn't a base, it was a graveyard. Thousands of alien machines. Twisted and broken, floated around the ocean floor like drifting corpses. But not human kills. These had been destroyed by something else. Something far older. Huge bite marks. Scorch burns. Crushed metal. They were hunted, Ramirez said quietly. Not by us. Then something moved. Out of the shadows behind the wreckage came a shape. Long, silent, watching another. Then another. Not machines. Creatures. The submarines froze. The crews stared, breath caught in their throats. Whatever these things were, they had been down here long before the aliens came, and they didn't like intruders. Back out, slowly. Wells said now. But it was too late. The creatures surged forward, not with violence, but with purpose. They surrounded the Nighthawk, pressed close to its hull, brushing it like sharks testing a cage. The hull creaked. The pressure increased. The lights dimmed further, and then the aliens returned. A swarm of new machines descended from above, diving, fast toward the trench like falling stars. The subs were caught in the middle between the ancient deep-sea creatures and the alien machines. Brace for contact, Wells shouted. The creatures attacked the machines with terrifying speed. Ah! Tentacles, teeth, and pulsing light clashed with alien steel. For the first time, humanity watched a battle that didn't belong to them. They were the observers now. Ramirez whispered, "They're not fighting for us. But they're fighting them." The subs stayed still, silent among chaos. But one of the alien drones broke from the swarm. It moved toward the Nighthawks, low scanning. "Should we fire?" the weapons officer asked. Wells hesitated. Then the drone spoke, not in sound, not in words, but a burst of images across every screen, every monitor. A warning, a countdown. A vision of the ocean turned black, poisoned, boiling with metal. "There, planning something, Wells," said voice cold. "Something big." The aliens hadn't given up. They had only tested Earth's defenses, and now they were calling reinforcements. Not from space, from a gate below the ocean floor, Wells and Ramirez. Both gave the same order at the same time. "Get back to command now." The subs rose fast, dodging debris and strange pulses from below. One of the creatures followed, swimming, close, watching. Then it stopped at the edge of the trench, staring upward. It's almost like it understood. Back on the surface, Earth's Ocean Command prepared for war. But this time, it wasn't just with submarines. Something bigger was needed. And something deeper was coming. The silence had broken, and now the ocean would roar. The ocean floor trembled again. It wasn't from an explosion or a falling ship. It was something else. Something new. Deep under the Pacific Trench, the enemy had begun a last desperate act. Inside the main alien hive, their queen, a massive creature with translucent flesh and 10 limbs, howled across the cum chamber. Her species had never lost a war in water. But Earth was different. Humans were different. The hive had lost nearly half its forces. Entire hunting pods had vanished. The queen had grown suspicious of the dark waters. There was something hiding in the depths, something that could see them, even in the pitch black. She clicked orders into the control flow, and a new creature, slithered forward a Huntrial-class warrior with heat sensors and sonic pulses. Its task was simple: find whatever ghost haunted them and destroy it. Meanwhile, deep in the Mariana Trench, Commander Reyes sat silent aboard the USS Abyss. The stealth sub floated in a thermal pocket, undetectable. His crew had not moved in. For hours, they listened, they waited. Every creak in the hull was ignored. The ocean had taught them patience. But now, something was coming. A ripple in the sonar, a strange wave signature. Not from the hive. Not from any known craft. Reyes narrowed his eyes at the monitor. "That's not alien," he said quietly. "That's Earth-made." A moment later, the screen cleared, and another submarine appeared. Not one of theirs. It was old, rusted, a Cold War ghost. The USS Halberd, decommissioned 20 years ago, should not have been there, and yet it was broadcasting an encrypted signal, an old code. Human friend Reyes gave the order to respond. And within seconds, a tight beam message came through, says Admiral Weller. "Former Commander, Deep Earth Initiative. You've reached Ghost Command." Ah. Gasps echoed through Reyes' sub. Ghost Command was a rumor, an old story, passed through Navy bars and forgotten logs. A secret unit that operated beyond radar and sonar, trained for deep-sea warfare no one believed would ever happen. Till now. "Admiral Weller," Reyes replied. "We thought you were all dead." "We were." "On paper," Weller said, his voice calm, "but the ocean kept us alive. Now it's time to hunt." Ghost Command wasn't just one submarine. It was 6. All modified, silent as shadows. There. Torpedoes were not standard issue. They were pulse-driven, coded to alien biology. Their sonar could detect the faintest echo of hive movement. And they had spent the last 2 decades training for exactly this. War in the deep, back in the hive. The Queen received a warning pulse. 2 more patrols gone, no wreckage, no distress call. Just silence. She launched the eel creature into the water with a sonic scream. It dove into the trench, weaving between rocks, hunting for heat, sound, or pressure changes. Anything that could reveal the ghosts, but the eel didn't notice the tiny drone following it. A micro-creep, released from Ghost Sub 3, watched from a distance. When the eel passed near a crevice, something slid out a long black hole with no markings. No sound, no light. The eel turned too late. A spike shot out. Not a missile. Not a torpedo. Something else. A soundless energy dart pierced its side, sending it into a spasm. It floated, twitching, until it stopped moving. Then the black hole vanished again. The Queen howled. She knew now she was not alone in the dark. Something hunted her children, something that could not be seen, not even by their best trackers. She summoned all remaining hive forces. Units, massive whale-sized drones, small crab-like scouts, and razor-winged eels. They would flood the trench and destroy anything hiding there. Reyes sat at the command table inside the Abyss, joined by Admiral Weller through video link. They reviewed maps, pulse charts, and enemy movement logs. "They're coming all at once," Reyes said. "Everything they have," Weller replied. "It's time to show them what human silence really means." The operation was codenamed Phantom Web. Ghost Command would split into 5 zones, H1 luring a part of the enemy into a false passage using decoy drones and frequency traps. Once inside, mines would trigger, currents would shift, and the subs would strike. From all angles, then vanish again. At 0300 hours, the trench lit up with bioluminescent pulses. The hive had arrived. Reyes felt the rumble across the Abyss's hull. Massive creatures swam above and around, but didn't see them. The decoys were working. The Queen's drones followed the fake signal deeper into the maze of rock walls and narrow caves. That's when the first strike hit. Ghost Sub 2 launched a sound bomb that cracked the pressure bubble around 3 drones. They imploded instantly. The Queen sent orders to retreat, but too late. Ghost Sub 5 dropped a torpedo net, a grid of exploding threads that wrapped around the enemy group and exploded one by one. Chaos filled the deep. Still the Queen pressed on. Her hive had ruled oceans across galaxies. She would not be beaten by apes. She pushed forward, and that's when she saw it, a human figure outside the trench wall, swimming. No gear, just floating, glowing faintly. It turned and smiled, then vanished. She sent 5 scouts. They all vanished. It wasn't real. A projection. A distraction. The Queen realized too late she had swum into a dead end. All her forces packed in behind her. The walls around her blinked red. Over 70 mines hidden in the rock pulsed once. Above, Reyes whispered, "Detonate." The trench shook. The ocean cracked with light and thunder. Airless thunder. Explosions rolled through the high formation, sending pieces and heat across the black water. The subs retreated fast, engines low, silent again. After 30 minutes, the water stilled. The sonar scanned the wreckage. Almost nothing moved, but Reyes knew better. "Scan the lower shelf," he ordered. There it was, the Queen, alive, barely. She floated weakly, her limbs curled inward, still alive. Weller's voice came through. "She's not done yet." Reyes nodded. "Then we keep hunting." The war wasn't over. But Earth had ghosts of its own, now silent hunters in the deep, waiting for the next sound, waiting for the final fight. The ocean floor was shaking, not from battle, not from bombs, but from something deeper, something older. A low hum echoed through the black depths, pulsing like a slow heartbeat. The alien commanders felt it first. They looked at each other. Confused, their sensors blinked and flickered. Readings made no sense. Currents shifted without cause. Magnetic fields spiked, then vanished. Something was waking up. The last of Earth's submarines moved silently through the dark, waiting. The new human fleet, now joined by allies from hidden deep-sea colonies, had pushed the invaders back to a single trench, the abyssal rift. There, the alien Queen's main hive had rooted itself. Tall spires of dark metal rose from the seafloor, pulsing with blue light like veins. But those lights were flickering now. Commander Riley sat at the helm of the USS Vindicator, one of the largest stealth subs ever built. She stared at the screens, watching the tremor spread. Sonar wasn't picking up submarines or weapons, it was picking up something else, something massive and alive. A soft voice crackled through the intercom. It was Commander Isha from the Indian Navy's deep-sea stealth sub, Shakti. "Riley, it's not us. Something else is moving, bigger than any alien ship. It's coming from under them." The alien Queen ordered her soldiers to defend the rift. Thousands of biodrones swarmed. Out of the trench, moving like a cloud of blades, they didn't see what was below them until it rose. It wasn't a submarine, it wasn't human, but it wasn't alien either. It was something Earth had buried long ago, a guardian, a relic of the planet's deep past. No one knew it had survived some, even believed it was myth. But in the ancient data vaults of old submarine command bunkers, there were whispers of a machine built during Earth's darkest war, a machine designed to never surface again unless Earth faced extinction. They had called it Leviathan Protocol. Now it had awakened. From the trench, something vast emerged. At first, the aliens thought it was the sea floor rising. But then they saw the lights green, gold, and redlining the edge of a structure that went on for miles. A massive hull, covered in armor so thick it bent the water around it. Gun ports opened. Energy surged. As the water boiled, the aliens screamed in confusion. Their queen hissed. This was not part of their calculations. This machine was not human, but it answered to humanity's final command. Protect Earth at all costs. The Leviathan. Protocol scanned the field. It saw human submarines scattered and damaged. It saw alien hive structures polluting the deep. And it acted. Torpedoes the size of freight trains launched from its belly. Swarms of sea drones burst from its sides. It moved like a mountain, slow and unstoppable, crushing enemy towers as it advanced. The sea trembled in its path. Commander Riley watched from the Vindicator. "My God, we didn't build this, did we?" No, Isha whispered over the com. But Earth did. The alien queen ordered a retreat. Her forces scrambled upward, toward the surface. But the human fleet had closed the net. Submarines emerged from nowhere, from all directions. They didn't attack. They herded. The Queen's fleet tried to break through. But for every direction they turned, another human vessel blocked the way. Silent, patient, deadly. Then the Leviathan fired its core weapon. A beam of burning energy tore through the trench, hitting the Queen's hive directly. The water turned white. Pressure waves slammed outward, knocking both alien and human vessels off course. When the light faded, the hive was gone. So was the Queen. Above, the surface of the ocean boiled as energy surged upward. From orbit, satellites recorded a glowing ring the size of a small island. When the sea settled, the trench was quiet. The hive was gone. The alien fleet had collapsed. Few tried to escape. Fewer succeeded. Earth's oceans were silent again. Commander Riley floated in her control chair, watching as the Leviathan slowly powered down. Its lights faded. It sank back into the trench. The sea swallowed it. No one knew if it would wake again. No one wanted it to. A few hours later, the survivors of the human fleet surfaced. Across all navies, American, Indian, Chinese, Brazilian, even independent underwater colonies, they broadcast one message. Earth's oceans are no longer yours to conquer. In the days that followed, alien signals across the galaxy went silent. The message had reached them. The sea was not safe. It's not from Earth, not from what lay beneath. The Galactic Council, watching from afar, made a quiet note. Do not provoke Earth's ocean guardians again. Ever, in a quiet naval base in Alaska, Riley met Isha in person for the first time. They stood at the edge of a frozen dock, sipping coffee, staring out at the waves. Think we'll ever see it again? Isha asked. I hope not, Riley said. If that thing wakes up again, it means the end is near. They stood in silence. Beneath, their feet miles below, something stirred. Only once, then silence again. Humanity had one, but the deep was watching. The cube was quiet now. For 3 days, hadn't pulsed. Torres stared at it through reinforced glass in Black Sector's vault. Inside was everything that was left of Rhodes. What remained after Mara's final encounter with the hybrid inside facility, zero-knot machine. Not alien, not entirely human, but something in between. And it had chosen silence. Hayes stood behind him. Is it stable? Torres nodded slowly. For now, Hayes didn't relax. For how long? Torres didn't answer. Because he didn't. No. Far above them. Earth's sky was clean. No Velnary signals. No infiltrations. Iron. Gate had worked completely isolating Earth from deep space. The digital quarantine was still holding. Space stations, colonies, and exploratory vessels were sealed off, cut from Earth. But no new attacks had come, no new transmissions, no more whispers. Still, Mara knew it wasn't over, because deep in her mind, behind the noise, she still heard his voice. Just once a day. At the exact same time, I'm still here. A secret chamber beneath black. Sector had been built for just one thing. The final option. Project Dawnstrike. If the cube ever reactivated or worse, if the signal ever returned, it would release a precision EMP across all major human networks. A kill switch. One that would wipe out everything connected, including the cube, including Rhodes, including whatever else was sleeping in. Earth systems, Mara had the key, only her. She hated holding it. That night, a tremor hit the Pacific Ocean. Single quake. Not natural, and 2 minutes later, just 2 iron gate. Flickered. Not failed, just flickered. Like something had knocked on the door. Something, waiting to be let in. Torres was the first to see it. A shadow on one of the sealed satellites. Shaped. No. Signal. No energy trace. Just presence. Still watching Mara, zoomed in. The shape was humanoid, but too tall, too thin. And in its chest glowed a soft blue light, the same one that used to shine in Rhodes' eyes. Hayes called a midnight emergency session. Everyone voted. Some said activate Dawnstrike now, burn the cube, end all links. Others said wait. Understand it first. Mara said nothing. She already knew what Rhodes would want. Not destruction, understanding. But understanding came with risk, and this time, Earth was already behind the wall. If it breached again, there would be no second lock. Later, alone in the observation deck, Mara stared out at the stars. She held the cube in her hands. It was cold again, lifeless. She remembered what Rhodes said before the final collapse inside Facility Zero. You closed the sky, but you forgot one thing. She whispered, what? And in the reflection of the glass, for a split second, she saw him standing beside her. Not as the hybrid, not broken, just Rhodes, smiling, then gone. Back at Black Sector, the alarms didn't go off. No lights, no breaches, just a soft, steady ping. One new message. Simple. UNCOD. From somewhere inside Earth's grid, 3 words. It begins again.